Hey, what's up YouTube? It's abluegolfball here today with another Pokemon TCG online video, and today I have for you guys a Machamp EX deck. This is a deck that was highly requested, and you guys want to see this deck in action. The 180 HP fighting type Pokemon with Steaming Mad. For 2 energy, you can hit for 20 damage times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon, and then you are confused at the end of your turn after the attack, meaning if you have 100 damage on here, it would be doing 200 damage, and that would be most impressive. Now, the attack we want to focus on is Crazy Hammer. It is for 3 energy, 2 fighting, and 1 colorless. Hits for a base damage of 80, and then it does 80 more if this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, and then you cure all special conditions. Now, if we what we want to combine here is, you guessed it, it's going to be Iriados, I don't know how you pronounce this guy, the 70 HP Grass-type Pokemon with the ability Poisonous Nest, and you're able to poison both you and your opponent unless they are a Grass-type, which is okay. At least you're still poisoned. You can still hit for 160, and then of course you have Muscle Band, Fighting Stadium, and Strong Energy. You can do a whole lot more. We are weak to Psychic, so that's a little bit of a problem there. It is a 3 retreat cost, so it's pretty heavy, but we'll have ways to work around that. We're going to be playing 3 Landers here for Shout of Power, being able to stack on energies accelerating from the discard pile. We do have Hawlucha here with Flying Press to take on those EXs as a backup attacker, and then Shaman EX here with Sky Return, which we'll never use, but Setup is the ability that we want to take advantage of to draw into some more cards. I already mentioned the Gyarados here. We're going to be playing a 3-2 line of this guy, and that's it for the Pokemon line. And you may notice we will automatically lose to Pyroar. A couple suggestions to deal with that if you're willing to be patient. I would recommend Lucario and Mega Lucario EX. That would be a pretty nice combination, and would take up quite a bit of space. That way you might have to end up sacrificing one of these Spinnerax and perhaps one of these Landorus, and then you can squeeze in a Lucario and stuff like that. So let's take a look at the item cards and whatnot. We have 1 Acro Bike here just to dig into the deck a little bit more. We have Escape Rope, 1 of these, 2 Level Balls, and 1 Professor's Letter. We have Sacred Ash to get the Pokemon back into our deck if we need to. We got Switch as well, 2 of those, and 1 of those. Trainer's Mail, to be able to look at the top 4 for a trainer card, except for Trainer's Mail, and put that into our hand. Shuffle the rest of our deck. We have 2 Ultra Balls and a VS Seeker. So here we have just 4 balls total, Level Ball, 2 of those, and Ultra Ball. So the Level Ball works very well to get out the Hawlucha and also the Iriados line, so that's very convenient for that. And then we have VS Seeker, 3 of these, and 3 Karinas to get out all these fighting Pokemon. 2 Lysanders, just to be able to snag something off the bench. Could work pretty well. And then we have N here, 3 of these, and Professor Birch's Observation. Juniper as well, 4 of these, and then Faded Town. We're going to be introducing this because of Mega Evolutions, and perhaps scaring our opponent away from playing Mega Pokemon. We could potentially use Faded Town for this. We do have 1 Fighting Stadium since, we already have the poison damage. We're going to be doing a base damage of 160 and things like that. The Fighting Stadium won't be as necessary, so we're only going to be playing 1 of these in case of scenarios where we do run into Megas that are very, very powerful, and we have to power up our Machamp as much as we can. We have Scorch Earth, 2 of these, to be able to discard some fighting energies and then energy accelerating them using the Landorus for Shout of Power, and Muscle Band, 3 of these, and 4 Strong Energies, 8 of these fighting energies, basic fighting energies. And that's it for the deck. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action on Pokemon TCG Online. Alright, and we're going to be playing against Zolzbladel Sky. It is a water deck, and we see my opponent playing with the Kyogre sleeves. So we do get an opportunity to go first. That is excellent. That way we can evolve first. We start off with a fantastic hand. Oh my gosh, we can't get a better hand than this. This hand is glorious. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Landorus here, and I'm just going to discard. Let's just go ahead. We're going to bench everything. So we still have 1 more space for the Shaman. I'm going to go ahead and just discard everything, and let's just go ahead and activate the Stadium right there. Ah, man. Let's see here. Shucks. Okay, well, that's... Oh, man. Should have had one energy on the Landorus at the very least. That way we could have... Oh, man. All this energy accelerating. I was trying to see if we can get a strong energy, but... that's okay. So we do have Karinas here ready to go. Here is a Rough Seas already. Oh, man. So there's the Scorched Earth with kind of a waste. And my opponent has 2 Keldeals. And, okay, so that looks pretty good. I think all we need to do right now is... I'm actually going to go for an N. I know my opponent only has 4 cards, but let's go ahead and let's go and energy accelerate a little bit. Let's get this guy ready to go in the next turn. We should be able to power him up. Yeah, I should have been able to get him ready to go on turn 2 by now, and going into turn 3, but it won't be until turn 4 that we really get our Machamp ready to go. My opponent does have a secret rare trainer's mail. Oh, that's cool. Here's the Kyogre EX with the Spirit Link. Could see it Mega Evolved right here, and it heals off 20 damage from the Rough Seas anyways. Here's the Dive Ball. Doesn't really matter. Our goal here is to get, Energy Acceleration, and oh no, here is the Primal Groudon, or Primal Kyogre EX, and you can see some energy accelerating with the growth ability there, or trait. And my opponent even goes for an Acrobike, discarding another Primal Kyogre EX in there. So this looks like that's it. So we do get this right here, and let's just go ahead, hit for another 20, and power this guy up. And we have no more, no more energies in the discard pile. So what I'm going to be doing is probably, I'm going to go for a Karina, get another fighting Pokemon. We just really need to accelerate and get another Machamp EX ready to go. My opponent needs to get a Floatstone, but doesn't seem to have it. And what we're going to do is just look at the deck really quick. I want to make sure I do have a Professor's Letter that we can grab from the Karina, and it looks like we do. Okay, so it's right there, and no need to do that anymore. Let's just go ahead and, sure, why not? We'll grab another Machamp. And then what we really need here is the Professor's Letter. So if we can get this right here, and let's just power this up right here, and let's just go ahead, we'll just retreat, and let's just go ahead, Poison, and Crazy Hammer it up, hitting for 180, knocking out that Keldeo. Oh, perfect. We got the Scorched Earth right here. We have Via Seeker as well. Our hand is looking pretty good. My opponent can hit us for a Tidal Storm, hitting us for 150. This Machamp here will take a hit, but right now we can actually go for Steaming Mad and knock out this Kyogre EX. So we're going to do that right here, right now. Let's go ahead. We're going to discard that, and let's just go for a Steaming Mad here, folks. Steaming Mad, and hit for 320 damage. My goodness. Oh, wow. We do have a switch that's available to us. Again, my opponent can actually knock us out with a Water Pulse, but by then we should have this Machamp ready to go and should be able to knock this guy out. Now, unless my opponent opts to Mega Evolve right now and drop 2 more energies, that can still happen. We can still hit for a Steaming Mad, just won't be as strong. Here's another Kyogre EX. It's the full art one. My opponent hits us for a Water Pulse. We have this Machamp here. We got the Professor's Letter from before. I knew it would come in handy, and it looks like we should be all set and ready to go. So here we go. Let's go ahead and knock this guy out right now. And do we have we have Faded Town we could potentially use, but I'm gonna activate the stadium, and Faded Town it is. Let's go with the Poisonous Nest, and yeah, let's just go ahead, Crazy Hammer it up, hitting for 180, knocking this guy out, taking the victory, and that was a convincing win over a Kyogre EX deck. And I feel like my opponent just couldn't get anything going, so, we're going to play one more match here. We did a ton of damage, and oh my goodness, 320 off of that Crazy Mad, whatever that move was called. And yeah, pretty impressive, pretty convincing win over Primal Kyogre. And let's go ahead and play one more match here for you guys here on Pokemon TCG Online. Alright, and we're playing against Book Bubble. Not sure. My opponent is playing with a grass deck. We will be going second. No one had the advantage there, so this should be an even matchup, I'm assuming, but you never know what that really means. And here it is, a grass deck indeed. It's a Mega Sceptile EX deck with Sceptile, the regular Sceptile, so very interesting. We start off with Machamp here. Again, we will be going second, so it's a little bit devastating not being able to evolve into your Spinnerack, but it wouldn't really matter. The Spinnerack wouldn't be able to poison them anyways, but we'll still be able to poison ourselves at the very least and still power up Machamp's attack a little bit more. We do get to have an opportunity to draw in a couple more cards. We see here the Treecko and the Sceptile EX are here, and we can get hit for a Sleep Poison. That's pretty devastating, and don't want to deal with that right away, so we might just go for a Lysander right now, but I'm actually going to opt to go for a Karina and perhaps get the Landorus going. Maybe, I don't know. That could definitely be an option for us. We see here Repeat Ball. I gotta wait and see, does my opponent play an energy this turn? And look at all these Sceptile EXs off that Repeat Ball, 2 Repeat Balls, getting all these Sceptile EXs. And alright, so we're gonna play the Escape Rope. We're gonna go for a Landorus right now and play the energy there, and then just hit for 20, and then use the Escape Rope for sure to get move this guy from the active spot, and then that way my opponent wouldn't be using he won't be hitting us with an unseen claw right away, and hopefully that could slow my opponent down a little bit more, unless my opponent does play switch or something like that, and switches into the one that's going to be on the bench after playing the escape rope. So we got to wait and see. My opponent does have a full art one here. That's actually pretty nice. I wish I had some full arts too, that'd be pretty cool. So my opponent played colors for a hand size of 4. Gotta wait and see what does my opponent do after that, and that is it. So this escape rope can come in pretty handy. Let's go ahead and play for this. Actually, you know what? We can actually play for the Hawlucha. There's no need for energy accelerating right now. Let's just go ahead and put a lot of pressure on my opponent. And gotta wait and see. We do have a let's see, muscle band. I'm gonna go for that, and let's just go with this right here, and let's play the escape rope. See, if my opponent plays the Treco, that's going to be fine. If not, then, oh, man, what does my opponent do? Oh, my opponent does bring out the Sceptile. This is great. It fell right into my hands. Flying press for 100, and if my opponent attempts to retreat, we can just go ahead and bring out the Lysander. Again, we got to set up the Machamp here. We do have a Professor Birch's observation in the next turn, so the plan for the next turn will probably just play the energy right here. My opponent will play it. It looks like my opponent may retreat, and he does, and we could get hit for a sleep poison here, but no matter. What we're going to do is probably just evolve. This actually isn't too useful right now because we stay asleep. Oh man. Okay, alright, so here's what we're going to do. Alright, so it looks like we're going to have to burn this right here. Let's go ahead, we'll switch into this. I do want to take the prize right now, so let's go ahead, we'll just retreat. And then let's just go for the flying press, knocking out this guy, taking the first 2 prizes. We do get a Scorched Earth as well, so this is looking really good. We can play the Professor Birch's observation in the next turn. My opponent right now can actually hit us for an Unseen Claw, and here is a Virizion EX, but it wouldn't really matter. We're not going to be able to do anything anyways. And we're just going to sacrifice this Erados right here. And alright, so what we really need here is... we don't actually need the Karina, to be honest. But, we're just going to try it anyways. Hey, here is the Landorus, and let's go ahead, and I'm just going to bench this guy so I don't draw into him again. And let's go for the Birch. Let's see if we flip heads, and no, we flip tails. Oh, man. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to end the turn like that. In the next turn, we're going to promote the Landorus. My opponent will be knocking out this guy, I think. That's what I would assume. My opponent counters the stadium. Oh, man. Well, hey, at least we were able to draw 2 extra cards for a little bit. Now, my opponent is going to be able to get these guys out going in this. Oh, my goodness. Here is a Sceptile with the barrier trait. And we could see power, poison, leaf blade, things like that. And, oh, man, we are poisoned and asleep. Doesn't really matter. This guy's just here for bait anyways. And let's just go ahead. We're going to power this guy up. And I don't want to play an N. So let's go ahead. We're going to go with this right here. And what do we want to do? I actually wouldn't mind getting a Professor's Letter to just kind of slowly power this up in the next turn. And let's just thin out our hand a little bit more. And we do have an N available to us again. So let's end the turn right here. We do wake up. And what we're going to do for sure is probably promote the Landorus and hit for 20, power this guy up a little bit, and then go on from there. So... oh, man, we get hit for 130. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. So we still need another spinner rack, that's for sure. My opponent has yet to play any of his Megas, so that's pretty interesting. Let's go with the Shadow Power, and we will Energy Accelerate a little bit more right here. Alright, excuse me. Again, my opponent can still Mega Evolve here. Oh my goodness, we see an Enhanced Hammer. That will slow us down a little bit more. We're going to get hit for a Sleep Poison. Or never mind, we just get hit for Unseen Claw right away. Okay, so, well, let's just go ahead, go for Shout of Power and Energy Accelerate a little bit more. Again, we really need to get that Spinner Rack. My opponent gets a Trainer's Mail, but misses it. So here comes the Machamp. Alright, here is the champ. And let's see if we can get, let's go for the Sacred Ash so we can guarantee at least try to get the Spinner Rack one more time. Let's go with that. Let's go with this right here. Bench this right there. And up the counter in the stadium. Let's go for the end. Oh, we got it. Perfect. Here it is. And we even get a Trainer's Mail to boot. Here's Fighting Stadium. We can definitely use that. We could play, yeah, I'm going to hang on to the Fighting Stadium. And here we go. Oh wait, let's go ahead. We'll poison ourselves and let's just go for the crazy hammer, hitting for 180, knocking this guy out. And I gotta wait and see what does my opponent do after this. We could still get hit with a power poison right now, and discard 1 energy attached to this Pokemon. Your opponent is now poisoned. We could see that happening. We do have 4 energies on this guy. If my opponent, in case if my opponent discarded the strong energy, we should still be able to attack. We do have a muscle band here as well. We're ready to go. Again, we saw an enhanced hammer earlier, so this guy can still show up again. We can still see another enhanced hammer. My opponent opted to power up the Sceptile EX here on the bench, and it looks like my opponent may not be. We may not see the Mega Sceptile EX at all. We get hit for 60. But that won't be enough to do it. So let's just go ahead. We're going to go for the Acro Bike here. Let's just hang on to the Karina, I guess. And let's just go ahead. We'll just do this right here. And we should be able to hit for the knockout on this guy. Let's just go Crazy Hammer 180. And again, we need to power up this Machamp here on the bench somehow. My opponent brings out this Sceptile. And we could see something like a Hypnotoxic Laser perhaps. That would knock us out with an Unseen Claw. That means we'll have to promote this Landorus here and try to power something up and power up the Machamp here. We do have an energy which we can slowly power up this Machamp, but we just get hit for 10 and that's it. We do stay asleep, so that's very brutal. Oh man, that's not good. So let's go ahead. We're gonna have to do this right here, and let's see what other things are available to us. We do have a Hawlucha here. Perhaps we can go with that for a free retreat. We don't have any switches at all. Nothing really available to us here as of right now. Got a muscle band we can work with, via Seeker, all these balls that we don't need. Let's go for the muscle band in case my opponent does, do something there. Let's go ahead. We'll just play the Shaman, draw in some more cards, and that's it. This guy's gonna go down. My opponent needs another energy right here. We stay asleep, so putting ourselves poisoned and asleep is huge. My opponent even gets a Colress off the top deck right there. We see a Trainer's Mail. Do we see an energy drop? My opponent may be chasing for a Professor's Letter, and this is getting pretty intense. We will take a couple more turns here. We see a Giant Forest Plant. Definitely it could be useful for my opponent to counter the Stadium. And alright, so here is the energy. That would be a knockout right here. Oh man, that is most impressive. We'll bring out this Hawlucha, and you can see what we really want to do here. We could hit this guy for 100 right now, and that could be pretty devastating. But again, my opponent may be able to knock us out right away. We do have a Hawlucha here with the free retreat. Again, my opponent may be able to knock us out in one shot. So this is a lot of pressure right now, and kind of I wonder what's the best move to do here. We could hit with the Landorus, power up this guy a little bit more, and I think that's what I might want to do. So let's just go ahead. We're gonna do that, and let's just go with Shout Out Power. Energy accelerating a little bit more, and this way I opted not to play the strong energy in case my opponent does use Enhanced Hammer. They'll slow it down. Here comes the Mega Sceptile, and we can get hit for a Jagged Saber. That would only do 100 damage. Thank goodness we didn't have the Hawlucha. That would have been a knockout on the Hawlucha. My opponent could still play a Lysander, bring out the Gyarados or the Hawlucha here. My opponent even plays the Herbal Energy here. We see a Juniper. Thank goodness there was no Lysander. Here comes a Treecko over there. And so this is getting pretty intense right now. We could, if we had the Fighting Stadium, wow, oh my goodness, we're down to 20 damage. My opponent can able to power something else on the bench, but alright, so this is it. Let's go ahead. We have to do this. Let's retreat right here. And, oh man, this is getting too intense. I'm going to counter the Stadium. That way my opponent won't be able to maybe evolve anymore. I don't know. Let's go for the Juniper. We do get the Lysander there. Let's go ahead and just go with the Poisonous Nest. And Crazy Hammer hitting for 200 damage. We are just a little bit short. My opponent can play a Lysander, bring out anything on the bench and really knock it out, besides the Shaman EX. But otherwise, we are in danger right now. This is down to the wire. Does my opponent have the Lysander? Here is a Giant Forest Plant thing. And does my opponent have a catcher, a Lysander? Now, if my opponent plays something like Escape Rope, we can actually bring out the Shaman, and the Shaman EX may be able to survive the turn. And that that actually could work, and then we will have to find a way to retreat the Shaman somehow. Otherwise, we are basically doomed. And we do have a Lysander as well. We could bring out the Sceptile or the Virizion, but I want to finish off this Mega Sceptile EX. The question is, my opponent's got 4 cards. Does my opponent have the cards that my opponent needs? Again, if my opponent plays an N, we both of us go down to 1 card, and that may be disadvantage for my opponent as well. But for right now, we are set in a good position here, and it looks like my opponent's going for a Via Seeker. That goes for a Colress. Did we see a Lysander in there? Was there a Lysander? No, there wasn't. And my opponent plays a Colress, getting a hand size of 6. We could still see a Pokemon catcher, but again, my opponent won't be able to knock us out with the Jagged Saber. Oh no, we see a Scramble Switch right here, and oh, it doesn't matter. We have a Lysander. My opponent Scramble Switches. You can see a Jungle Edge right now. We get hit for 70. We should be able to survive the turn, and that's it. So this is it. We will go ahead and just Lysander out this guy, and I want to finish him off. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the Poisonous Nest, and Crazy Hammer, 200 damage again, knocking out the Mega Sceptile EX, and we will take the victory right there. So this is a pretty intense match. Came down to the wire, down to 1 prize each, and my opponent had a very interesting Sceptile deck using the giant forest thing right there as well. So wow, we were able to put up 1,020 damage total. Machamp EX, we flipped 6 tails. My opponent flipped 4 heads. That's incredibly unfair. Well, whatever. It's the way the coin got tossed. So anyways, that's it for the video. Hopefully you guys liked it, and yeah, if you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share, subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, thanks so much for supporting this channel, being here with me along in this journey, and you guys all take care. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.